Bulking and cutting is a scam. Bulking is going to get you fat and develop an eating disorder where you're only eating unhealthy food, while cutting is going to make you skinny, crash your metabolism, and eventually force you to relapse and gain back all the weight you lost. Luckily, there's a better solution, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is, why you should do it, and how you should do it. So just sit back and relax. I'm about to take care of y'all. Also, y'all, peep the fur. I feel like Huey Freeman from the Boondocks right now. Oh, and also, before I forget, before we go any further into the video, just keep an eye out, or keep an ear out for a sound like this tick, which you're about to hear. Because every time you hear that tick, that means that I'm giving you a pro gamer tip, which is literally just some free game. So pause the video, read that, and you're gonna get some free game, my boy. So yeah, just sit back and stay tuned for this ism you about to receive. So the first part that we're gonna go over is gonna be bulking. Now, there's a couple issues with bulking. The main one being performance. Because you see, the whole goal with bulking is to put on size. You're out here trying to get as strong as possible. You're out here trying to get, no, actually, let me reframe that. You're out here trying to get as big as possible. It's not even about getting strong. It's not even about performance. It's about just literally being big, being more massive, gaining more mass. And that is actually like, I'm sorry. I had to say it. It's stupid, okay? Because here's the thing. When you're out here just trying to gain size, you lose everything else in the process. Like if you out here and your goal is just to get big and you just put on a whole bunch of weight, your speed is gonna go down. You're not gonna get that much stronger because strength and weight don't exactly correlate. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're strong. Look at fat niggas in the gym. Just because they're big doesn't mean that they're all strong. There's a lot of weak fat niggas, unfortunately. They're just skinny people trapped in a shell of fat. But anyways, like performance, like cardio can go down, endurance can go down, flexibility, agility, the skill, your ability to play your sport at a high level can go down if you don't put on size the right way. And unfortunately, that's the way that a lot of people do, because they essentially develop an eating disorder. They get told that like, yo, it's okay to just eat everything inside because you're bulking, bro. Yeah, go eat that protein bar, go eat those chips, go eat those cookies, man. It's all good. All weight is good weight, you're just trying to get big, bro. You're beefing up. It's like, no, bro, you're getting fat and you're developing an eating disorder in the long run. On top of that, you're also just eating unhealthy processed foods, bro. Like, you don't need to eat unhealthy processed foods. You don't need a dirty bulk in order to put on size, because here's what you got to understand. Size is correlated to strength. The stronger you are, the easier it is to put on muscle. Because think about it this way. If your bench max is 225 and you can rep that out for 1 rep, then you could rep out 185 for like 10 reps and you could put on muscle that way. Or you could focus on getting strong. You could get up to like 275 on bench or something as your 1 rep max. And now you can rep out 225 for 10 and you'll put on way more muscle that way. So that's why I say strength obviously is not always going to perfectly correlate to size, but the stronger you are, the easier it's going to be able to put on muscle. Science, my nigga. But yeah, so that's the issue with bulking, is like performance, but then you also develop this eating disorder in the long run. And that's why, I live in America, and that's why a lot of Americans are fat. It's because these niggas are all like, oh, we're bulking. Oh, I'm bulking. No, nigga, you're fat, okay? You're fat, you're not bulking. And I say that because I've been there before. I've been the dude. I would wake up and I would be eating bacon, man. Bacon. That's so haram, so unkosher. Like, that's not okay, bro. And I was doing that. So I'm just trying to help y'all not make the same mistakes I made, bro. I was waking up and eating bacon because I was out here bulking. I was trying to get big, bro. Yeah, I did get big in my midsection. Shit was not cool. And that leads to another issue with bulking. Confidence, man. When you start getting big, when you start bulking and like you see your jawline disappear, you see your abs disappear, you see your veins and all your striations disappear, that shit is not fun, bro. That shit is not cool. And actually, like me personally, like I've said in a lot of videos, bro, I'm kind of vain, I do enjoy looking good. I do enjoy being aesthetic. That's why, we're athletics over here. Athletic and aesthetic, we want to look good, but we also want to perform good. And the issue is that, like, man, when you start getting big like that, bro, your aesthetics go away and like you just kind of become a mass, bro. You're not chiseled, man. You're like a block of stone. Instead of going from, a chiseled statue, you essentially become a block of stone. You become kind of a blob, and that can, like, for me personally, that would make me lose a lot of confidence in myself, because I just want to feel confident, man. I would look in the mirror, I'd be like, dang, I look fat as fuck. I don't fuck with this. So that's one issue with bulking. Is like another issue with bulking is that it can also just lead to confidence issues, man. So yeah, you don't need a bulk, man. Just focus on getting strong, which doesn't require you bulking. That just requires you eating enough protein, properly timing like carbs before a workout or something. And we're gonna get into that later on in the video, so just relax for now. But I say all this to say, man, You don't need to bulk. You don't need to develop this eating disorder and eat everything in sight in order to put on size, in order to put on the muscle you want. There's a much better way. All right, so next we're gonna move on to cutting. So cutting, I say look, if you're gonna bulk or cut, I would prefer that you cut, because at least you'll be chiseled, at least you'll be lean in the short term, which you're about to find out about. But the issue with cutting is like, well, for one, first we gotta understand what cutting is. Cutting is, reducing your calories with the goal to shred fat and gain as much muscle as possible, or at least retain as much muscle as possible. Because a lot of people say that you can't really gain muscle while you're cutting. Yeah, whatever. Limiting beliefs. Who gives a fuck? The main issue with cutting is just energy. Okay, energy goes down when you cut inevitably, just because you go from essentially eating like a normal amount of calories, or maybe an excess amount of calories if you were bulking, and you go to lowering your calories. And understand, calories are just energy. Calories in science, literally, if you took any science class in high school or something, bro, calories are literally just energy. So if you're lowering your calories, you're lowering your energy, meaning that performance, again, is gonna take a hit. You're not gonna be able to push as much weight in the gym. You're not gonna be able to run as fast for as long. You're not gonna have as much endurance, because you simply just have less energy. And that's the issue with cutting. Another issue with cutting is your metabolism is gonna get fucked. So to understand metabolism is super simple, my boy. Sit back, I'm about to take y'all on a little science lesson. So BMR, basal metabolic rate, essentially that's just the amount of calories you take in and what you burn. So let's say you're an average dude and you can eat 3,000 calories in a day, and your body will naturally burn 3,000 calories in a day, okay? So if you eat 3,000 calories every day, your weight will stay the same. Now let's say that you lower your calories because you're in a deficit, you're trying to shred fat and put on muscle, you lower it down to 2,500 calories. In the short term, yes, you are going to lose weight. Now, will that weight be fat, or will it be muscle? That depends on like how much protein you're eating and if you're still working out, stuff like that. But yeah, if you lower your calories in the short term, you will begin to lose weight. But what happens is your body will adjust. Your body now adjusts to the point where 2,500 calories becomes the basal metabolic rate, because that's essentially what you're training your body to do. You're training your body to be like, okay, 2,500 calories is all we need. That's what we're gonna lower to. So what happens then from there is that now, in order to stay the same, in order to maintain, you only need 2,500 calories. But that means that when you go back to eating a normal amount of calories, once your cut is done, you're going to gain all the weight back, which leads to the third issue, which is the relapse. So with cutting, you're essentially starving yourself, and you're essentially crashing your metabolism. So eventually you're gonna hit this point where you're hungry, my nigga. Like, you can't starve yourself, my boy. You simply can't cheat the body that way. Like, you can't cheat the body that way. You can't. Don't stop. Don't, no, I don't wanna hear it. You can't cheat the body, bro. The body knows. So you're gonna relapse, and what's gonna happen is that as you start eating a normal amount of calories for, however much you weigh and how tall you are and all that stuff, what's gonna happen is you're gonna gain back all the weight, but it's not gonna be in a good way, because now your metabolism is lower. Your metabolism isn't able to, if your basal metabolic rate was 3,000 calories before, but you lower it down to 2,500 and you start eating 3,000 calories again, you're gonna gain all the weight back, but it's gonna be in the form of fat, because your body isn't burning that extra 500 calories that you're getting. It's only burning the initial 2,500. So yeah, it's not a good look, bro. It's not sustainable. Nothing about either of these methods is sustainable. You can't do this for a long time. You can't do this for your entire life. And look, if you can't do it for your entire life, why even do it at that point? Like, that's what I always say. That's what I'm always thinking, is like, if I can't do this for the rest of my life, there's no point in doing this. Like, for instance, when making YouTube videos, I could make these for the rest of my life. Now, will I? That's a great question. Who knows at the end of the day, but I could do this for the rest of my life. Training, I could do that for the rest of my life. Obviously, as I get older, maybe I have to do less weight, or I have to tone it down a little bit, but I can still train for the rest of my life. Bulking and cutting though, no, I can't do that for the rest of my life. Luckily, there's a solution, and I'm about to give y'all the solution right now. The solution is to not let Dooney demons take your soul. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes I just be saying random bullshit, bro. All right, so luckily there's a solution, and you probably already guessed what it was from the start of this video. The solution is fasting, because I'm the king of fasting. I'm the king of fasting, my nigga. Come on now. All right, seriously though, I am the king of fasting. So the goal, or not the goal, but the solution is fasting. Okay, that's what you need to do. You need to start fasting, because fasting combines the best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. Like Hannah Montana said, you get the best of both worlds, okay? You get to be a superstar, and then you also get to be a chill hometown country girl. On top of that, you just get the best of both worlds. It's like being light skinned or something. It's like being black and white. You know, you get that good amalgamation in the middle. Because what happens is you essentially bulk and cut throughout the day. So stay with me here, because it's about to get a little scientific. It's about to get a little complicated for your peanut-sized brain. Just kidding. Y'all got big brains if you're watching this channel. Big head, big brain moment. Believe in y'all niggas. Smart, man. All right, so anyways, yeah, you get the best of both worlds, because here's what happens, okay? So fasting, first we gotta understand what fasting is. Fasting is very simple. You're not eating less food, you're just eating less often, okay? Let me write that down. You're just eating less often. So instead of eating from, instead of eating breakfast at 8 a.m., eating lunch at 12 p.m., having a snack at 4 p.m., eating dinner at 6 p.m. or something, you just simplify it down. Instead of eating around the clock, you just eat a couple times a day in a condensed feeding window. So let's say you have your first meal, you skip breakfast, have your first meal at 12 p.m., it's a bigger meal. Then you don't eat again until like 6 p.m., it's your last meal of the day, again, it's a big meal, and that's all you eat. You just eat less often. And what happens is when you condense your calories into a smaller window, some amazing changes happen in the body. So first we need to understand these two different states in the body. Your body can either be catabolic, in which case it's like, you're losing, essentially like you're shredding, you're burning fat, you're burning energy and whatnot. So your body can either be catabolic or anabolic. Anabolic is essentially when you're losing, like, it's when like, you're urinating or taking a shit, or like you're losing fat. You're just like, you're essentially becoming skinnier in a way. Anabolic is more like when you're gaining, when you're growing, okay? So catabolic is losing. It's like things are cannibalizing themselves. You're losing something. So these both have essential functions. Like obviously, when you're in a cut, you're going catabolic, you're shredding fat. When you're bulking, you're supposed to be anabolic. You're supposed to be gaining muscle, gaining size, gaining strength, all that. But with fasting, you get the best of both worlds, because during the time after you eat your last meal to the time when you eat your first meal, that's about 16 to 20 hours depending on how long you fast for. And during that time, catabolism will happen, and this is what's going to happen to your body. So BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, will go up, because just primarily speaking, that when we're like hunter-gatherers, if you were hungry, if you were starving, your brain had to work quickly so that you could get some food, my boy, and not starve and not get eaten by that saber-toothed tiger. Because of that, we had this essentially an adaptation where BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, goes up, meaning it'll be easier to focus. On top of this, insulin goes down, meaning it's just harder to gain fat. Insulin makes it really easy to retain fat, and insulin goes up when you eat a lot more often around the clock, and also when you eat a lot of like heavy carb-filled meals. So because of this, during the time when you're fasted, you'll not only be getting smarter and having more BDNF and just brain power, but you'll also be shredding fat because of the lowered insulin, and you'll just have more time to digest the food that you've ate. So you will shred fat during your catabolic phase and also get a little bit smarter. Now, during this catabolic phase, you can use this increased brain-derived neurotrophic factor to get work done, to just focus on whatever deep work task you got, to go to school, to go to work, and do your work to the highest of your ability. But we're going to get into that a bit later on in the video. But just understand what catabolism is for now. Next, we're going to talk about anabolism, which we already said is about when you're growing, when you're gaining and whatnot. So anabolism, this is what happens once you refeed your body, and also when you go to sleep. Your body just rebuilds, repairs, and grows essentially. So what happens during anabolism is HGH goes up. That's the youth hormone. That's human growth hormone. That means that's just responsible for just growing your muscles. On top of that, also just keeping you young, so it makes you look more attractive, makes you look more youthful. It brings up testosterone as well, because what happens is when you oscillate between these two worlds in the same day, you get like the slingshot effect, where you're hungry and whatnot, you're catabolic, you're not eating as much, so your body starts cannibalizing itself. It has to, resort to different methods in order to, keep you going with the BDNF, lowering the insulin and stuff like that, shredding fat. But then you slingshot when you refeed again, and now your HGH, your test goes up, you have more muscle growth, because it's just your body rebounding, and your body loves to rebound, because, it's like, boom, it's like you go down and boom, slingshot. Like when you're going catabolic, you're like pulling back that slingshot, then you go anabolic when you eat again and get some sleep, and boom, you shoot out of that slingshot. So that's what happens when you eat again. You just go anabolic, HGH, testosterone, muscle goes up. It just, everything essentially goes up because of this rebound, this slingshot effect. And just some of the benefits from doing this fasting is like I already said, obviously, you lose fat, then you also gain muscle again when you refeed. You also get to look younger because of the HGH increase. But on top of that, you also just gain more freedom. You gain freedom and peace of mind. You gain the freedom to essentially eat anything you want because you know that your body's gonna have enough time to digest it. So if you eat pizzas, if you eat cookies, if you go out and you drink or something, you can drink, you can do whatever you want, and you know that your body will have enough time to process all that shit that you consume, and that it'll be able to essentially digest it and whatnot. And you'll just, that'll just give you more peace of mind. So then when you're outside, you don't have to, like, you're drinking a drink, you don't have to worry like, oh my God, I'm drinking too many calories. Oh my God, I'm eating this pizza, I'm eating this taco. It's like, no, you ain't gotta worry about that. You can be chilling. Now on this channel though, like I already said, we're some samurai. I don't promote going out here and just going crazy and eating unhealthy because I don't do that myself personally. But I'm just saying, if you do that, you don't need to stress, you don't need to worry, you can rest easy. It just gives you peace of mind, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to go out and do that. Don't go out and be a fat fuck. Don't go out and be a fat slob. But if that was your imperative, you could do that. But don't test the gifts that God gives you. Don't be doing all that. Because chances are you probably will get fat. Because a lot of unhealthy foods, they have stuff that just promotes inflammation, promotes you getting fat, and it's harder to digest that food as opposed to just eating real food and stuff like beef, eggs, avocado, butter, coconut oil, fruits, veggies, all that healthy stuff. You know what I'm saying? So how do we do this successfully? Because I'm not just going to tell y'all like, oh, go fast and whatnot. No, there's a way to actually do this successfully so that it works for you well. And like the general overview is just to skip breakfast, have your first meal at 12 p.m. and then stop eating by sundown, like 3 hours before bed. But that's just a general overview. I'm going to actually give y'all like an in-depth schedule that y'all can follow so that way you can actually do this successfully and reap all the rewards, all the benefits and whatnot. And I'll essentially give y'all like the routine that I use, and then you can just tailor it and customize it so that it works for you essentially. So the first thing you need to understand is that when you do start fasting, it's going to take some getting used to, my boy. You've probably been eating around the clock. You've probably been eating whenever you want. You've probably been eating whatever you want around the clock for like, I don't know how old you are, 18 years old. I don't know, 20 years old. You've entrenched these habits for the last 20 plus years possibly. So you need to understand is that when you switch around to fasting, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Give your body some time, stay disciplined, get through the hard times, and understand that when you come out on the other side, you will be that much stronger and you will have all these benefits, all these rewards waiting for you. So just understand that this isn't going to be some overnight fix. This is going to take a couple of days, possibly a week even to get used to. So anyways, here's the schedule. So 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is block numero uno. This is block 1, and this is essentially what I call the deep work block. This is when you should get the most work done, because like we already went over, is like your BDNF is up, you're just way more focused. You don't need to deal with you're not dealing with digestion, because understand, digestion takes up like 30% of your body's energy, a bunch of brain power. When you're digesting, if you've ever noticed, if you've ever tried to work on something after eating, it's just not that easy. It's pretty hard because your body's literally digesting food. It's giving all this energy to that. But when you wake up early in the morning at, let's say like 6 a.m. or something, 7 a.m., whenever, your body doesn't have to deal with digestion. Your body is fresh, essentially. You have a fresh, clean slate, and you can use this extra energy. You can use this creativity that you have from like the dreams you just had. You can get straight from like into this subconscious workflow if you go straight into work after waking up. And you can essentially just get a whole bunch of work done. So if you got a business you're working on, if you got a side hustle you're working on, work on that in the morning. If you got work, if you got school or something, get that shit done in the morning, because this is when your mind is essentially at its peak. This is when your mind is operating at the highest possible echelon. So you want to make sure you get as much deep work done as possible between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. So yeah, remember, just from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., you want to do deep work. And in order to, make sure that you stay in this fasted state during this time, you can also use nootropics / hunger blunts. So nootropics, this is going to be stuff like caffeine, L-theanine, nicotine gum. And what this stuff does is when you consume it, when you drink coffee, when you chew nicotine gum or something, it helps your brain focus more, because it's got certain chemicals and compounds in it that just force you to lock in essentially. So if you chew nicotine gum, if you drink coffee or something, you'll be locked in during your deep work, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff done at a very high quality, high clip rate. On top of that too, it also blunts hunger, so you're not gonna be as hungry. You're just gonna be focused on the work. You're not even gonna be thinking about food. That's why a lot of people you see who like hit vapes and whatnot, a lot of people who drink coffee, they're very skinny, you know, very slim, very trim, you know what I'm saying? Slim reapers, trim reapers, very smooth. But yeah, on top of that, it's just gonna blunt hunger. You can also drink stuff like sparkling water as well. And this again will blunt hunger, so you just won't be thinking about food. You won't even be hungry. You won't even have a desire. And then on top of that too, you're just busy, so you're not going to be thinking about food anyway. So, you know, just make sure that you get your deep work done during this time period, and you'll be thanking yourself for it, because you can really move the needle forward and get a lot of high quality work done. Next is the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. block, and during this block, this is ideally when you want to train. Now, me personally, I like to train fasted. I don't like to eat before I train, so I'll go in, I'll go lift, I'll go run sprints, I'll go box or something, and I'll do that fasted. I won't have any food in my system, and at this point, I've gotten used to it, and the reason why is because I'm a big believer that like you don't want to be relying on anything outside yourself. You don't want to be relying on coffee, you don't want to be relying on pre-workout, you don't want to be relying on food or something. Like, you just want to know that at any given time, you are capable of summoning up strength, summoning up speed, summoning up whatever you need in order to accomplish your physical goals. So I don't like to lift weights with food in my stomach. I don't like to sprint with food in my stomach. I don't like to train with food in my stomach. None of that shit. So ideally, try this. If you're a bit weaker minded, if you're kind of a weak ass, lame ass nigga, then yeah, bro, go eat some fruit, get a pre-workout meal like some fruit or something. I get it. We're all different here. We're not all cut the same, my boy. Sorry to say we're not all cut the same. So obviously, if you can't, you know, if you don't want to train well fasted, then go have a little snack or something. It's okay at this point because you've already skipped breakfast and it's pretty late into the day, and you know, you can break your fast around like 10 a.m. 11 a.m. Ideally, you want to break it at 12 p.m. Now, after training, this is when you want to have a pretty big post-workout meal. You want to have something that's really high in fat and really high in protein, because your body is primed to store nutrients. Now, if you were fasted for this entire time and then you trained and now this is going to be your first meal, your body is primed to take in nutrients. You know, you've trained, the muscle protein synthesis is about to get activated, and if you eat a bunch of protein and fat, your body's primed because your body hasn't received any nutrients in a while. So your body is just perfectly primed to take in these nutrients and utilize them perfectly, to make sure that all the protein goes towards building muscle, to make sure all the fat that you eat goes towards optimizing your hormones, optimizing testosterone, HGH, all that. So primed post-workout meal is the next step. And then after that, after you know you have your meal or something that takes like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour at the most, then you can just relax and whatnot, allow your body to digest, go for a walk in the sun, read a book in the sun, listen to a podcast in the sun. Ideally, you just want to get outside and make sure that you get some good vitamin D and whatnot. So just chill in the sun is what I say. And me personally, I usually go for like a post-walk meal, listening to a podcast, listening to a video on YouTube, getting some extra learning, some extra knowledge in. Then I'll go and I'll also read a book outside or something. And yeah, it's just nice. Next is the 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. block. Now, depending on your schedule, you might have already got all your work done for the day done from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., you can kind of just chill. Like, you can do some shallow work, some menial tasks, you know, make some calls or something, you know, do some paperwork or something, or you can just go out and network. You know, networking is very important, and don't even look at it as networking, and looking at it more as just socializing, just talking to people, getting out in the real world, having real experiences. So I say from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is just more shallow work, you know, network. Or for your boy personally, right now I gotta pay these bills, so I'll be out and door dashing from like 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. just to make some extra money and make some cash, put some cash in my pocket and whatnot. You know, make sure I can pay the freaking rent and shit like that. So yeah, I'll be doing that. And then from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., then this is when you want to eat your last meal. Now, me personally, I already know I only eat one meal a day. So this is when I'll have my first and last and only meal of the day at 6 p.m. And I have a huge meal just with like a whole bunch of bison, some eggs, some avocado, and then I'll have like a bunch of carbs too as well, like some fruit, yams, and rice. So 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. you want to eat. And ideally, if you a real ass nigga, before you eat, you want to smash some cheeks, because it's just nice, because then you feel like you really earned your meal, you know what I'm saying? And you know, who doesn't like smashing some cheeks before you have some food, you know what I'm saying? So you can do that. And then after that, you can really just chill, bro. Like, it's the end of the day, you know, like, you done accomplished a lot. You trained, you worked hard in the morning, hopefully you made some money and you smashed some cheeks. Like, it's a successful day, my boy. So from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., this is when I like to chill. I'll, you know, eat some food, I'll chill with friends, I'll chill with family and whatnot. On top of that too, I might even watch some Netflix, or I'll just like plan out my next day. I'll just write out what I'm gonna do tomorrow and whatnot. Now, obviously, if you're a nigga that's in monk mode, if you're a Sigma grind set, alpha male, if you're in that stage of life, man, then shit, just work more. You know, you can do that. That's cool, bro. I respect to you, bro. But yeah, do whatever. Like, it is literally it's your life, bro. Do whatever you want. Like, you can do whatever you want during this time. Now, obviously, there's a caveat because, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I am self-employed, so my schedule. I determine my schedule. I can do whatever I want when I want. If you go to school or if you go to work, ideally, I would say to switch the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. blocks. So then that way, what you could do is, like, you know, you could get all your deep work done from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., do more shallow work from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then, you know, you could break your fast at like 2 p.m. before going to train, and then you could have your last meal at 6 p.m. And this would definitely be a bit more of an extreme feeding window, but it's nothing that you can't do, bro. And as you know, like I've said in previous videos, you can like condense the window. So you can start having a window from like 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then you can condense it down to like 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. then 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. all that. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., this is when you want to do your deep work, do your shallow work, then break your fast around 2 p.m. That way you get all these benefits from being fasted. And on top of that, you're not going to suffer from any carb crash. You know, a lot of people, it's like, I've heard that like in 9-to-5s and whatnot, like after like lunchtime, productivity just goes out the window. Productivity just goes down after like 12 p.m. So you might as well just get all your important work done and then reward yourself with a meal that'll fuel you also for having a workout later on in the day. Because training is important, my boy. Make sure you're in the gym, make sure you're running sprints, make sure you join in a local basketball team or tennis team or something, bro. Do something to get active every day. And like just getting into some more nuance too is like I said, is like fasting is not like a lot of people think that fasting is gonna ruin their gains. They think they're gonna lose all their muscle. They think they won't be able to gain muscle, or that their athleticism or performance is gonna go down if they're fasting. Like, no, bro. Like, if you learn how your body works, if you learn how to properly, you know, time and optimize your feeding windows, like if you make sure to eat a pre-workout meal, if you're gonna work out at 3 p.m. and you eat a pre-workout meal at 2 p.m. and that's your first meal of the day, you'll be fine. Just eat some fruit, eat something light, eat something, nothing too crazy that's not gonna weigh you down. And, you know, like have a banana or something, pause, have an apple, have some blueberries or something at like 2 p.m. or whatnot, and then have your workout at 3 p.m. or whenever you have to around that time. Just make sure, you know, learn to, you know, learn how your body works. Like me personally, I like to eat my meal at 6 p.m. and I make sure to eat a lot of carbs during that meal, because I know that when I have my workout later that day or the next day at 10 a.m., I'm going to use the carbs that I ate at this meal at 6 p.m. during that workout. So just be smart with it, you know, make sure that you fuel your body accordingly. On top of that, just make sure that you're fasting, bro. Like, fasting is really a cheat code to not only look and feel good, but to also perform good as well. Like I said earlier, if you just learn how your body works, if you learn how to properly time out meals, if you learn how to eat the right meal during the right times, you'll be good, my boy. And if you want an entire system on how to do that, then click the top link in the description below to get the free athletic workout system. I literally have an entire training program for you to get you athletic and aesthetic. I have like nutrition guides as well with foods to eat, diet guides and whatnot. I even have 8 recovery protocols and a workout tracker. So go check that out. You might as well get right from your boy. And yeah, don't forget also to check out the last video that I made about the 10 diet commandments, because if you like this video, then you're definitely gonna like that video. It's going more in depth on diet, and it's really just gonna get y'all right, because at the end of the day, man, I'm trying to get y'all athletic and aesthetic. I'm trying to get all of us right. I'm trying to get us out here looking like lean models, lean chiseled fighters, physiques and all that. But not only that, but also feeling good and whatnot. So yeah, just go check that out. And yeah, just don't forget, stay up, stay blessed, and stay based. If you watched this video and made it this far, I really do appreciate you. I'm a band man, count bands, man. Off the key stand, kill me in the truck.